Your Excellency, Sri Hardip Singh Puri, Minister of State, Independent Charge, Housing and Urban Affairs, Minister of State, Independent Charge, Civil Aviation, Minister of State of Commerce and Industry of the Republic of India, Sir Javed Ashraf, High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to join you for this Business and Innovation Summit on India and to speak on the economic relationship between Singapore and India. Before I begin my speech, I just wanted to share that I was very delighted to see the symbol of two lions for this event. The first lion represents Singapore, and the second lion, the Make in India lion from India. And as you know, Singapore's name, Singapura, means Lion City. So I think we are very delighted as well, His Excellency Minister Puri and myself, to meet some of our young, lion-hearted entrepreneurs when we were touring the booths earlier. I think it's very good to see young people having a platform to innovate, to realize their ideas and their passion, and to make the world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, the Singapore-India relationship is an important and mutually beneficial one that dates back generations. The early Indian pioneers who settled on our shores contributed significantly to Singapore's success as an entrepreneur hub, and they helped shape the economic growth and development of modern Singapore. They greatly enriched Singapore's multiracial, multicultural society, bringing their traditional arts, religious practices, and food, which continue to thrive in Singapore today. Our Indian community is now one of the keynotes of the global Indian diaspora, and Singaporean Indians have achieved great success in social, political, and economic fields over the years. The members of our thriving Indian community continue to serve as bridges to enhance the relationship between Singapore and India, including in trade and investments. I'm glad to know that Singapore was a top investor in India in the first quarter of financial year 2019. Indian companies form the largest overseas contingent that have invested in Singapore, and many have set up their regional or global headquarters here. While historical ties provide a solid foundation for our bilateral relationship, our economic ties provide the ongoing sustenance that further deepen our connections and strengthen our links over time. As globalization and international connectivity come under threat in the current environment, we cannot assume that our economic ties will remain the same as before if we simply continue business as usual. It is like rowing a boat in rapid waters. If we do not row harder and move forward, we will be swept back by the fast currents. It is worrying that countries around the world have put up barriers to discourage trade and investments, rather than integrating more closely within a rule-based, multilateral global system. This will result in slower overall growth for everyone, with fewer jobs created and lower standards of living. It could also lead to higher risks of instability and conflicts in different parts of the world. Some governments pursue short-term populist measures that may boost their political standing during elections, but these are often at the expense of the long-term interests of their economy and their people. Such measures also damage trust between countries and undermine confidence in the global system. In other cases, some governments may be reluctant to open up to the global economy because they are worried that external competition could overwhelm their domestic industries. These protectionist measures end up enriching a small group of connected individuals and companies, but they are detrimental to the country's overall economic competitiveness and the well-being of its people. And this is because Protectionism encourages inefficiencies, removes incentives for firms to improve their products and services, and reduces the opportunities for innovation and new investments, which are essential for our society to achieve sustainable growth and development. The problem is further exacerbated by rapidly changing technologies and global trade flows, which all economies face. By shielding our companies from such driving forces, they are unable to make regular adjustments to their business models to keep up with changing technologies and market demands. So when the pressure eventually becomes too great and changes are forced upon the companies, many are unable to survive because they have fallen too far behind. The companies then have an incentive to lobby their governments to put up more barriers, which will further worsen the situation as the root cause of the problem is not being addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've persuaded you on the importance to uphold our rule-based, multilateral global system and for countries to build more bridges and more connections with one another instead of erecting more barriers and more walls. The next question I'd like to address is how can we go about achieving this? How do countries integrate more closely with others within the global economy and promote the flow of trade, capital, and ideas across our borders? Now, turning to Singapore and India, both countries have our strengths and our value propositions. We should make good use of our comparative advantages and find concrete ways to enhance our collaborations in different sectors. We also want to bring in other countries from the region so that we can enlarge the size of the pie and create more for everyone to share. This abundance mindset is critical to counter the zero-sum mentality and achieve a sustainable win-win outcome for all stakeholders. Singapore's strengths include our favorable geographical location and our connectivity. These are some of the factors which contribute to our status as a trade and logistics hub. We want to enhance our value proposition through the use of technology by developing the Network Trade Platform, NTP, which allows us to link up with partner countries to provide a single trade window for businesses. Under the NTP, electronic forms are exchanged in a seamless manner. This will help exporters around the world to reduce risk and uncertainty and manage their operations with greater accuracy. The overall improvement in trade processes will help to enable trade flows and strengthen trade linkages between countries. It is also important for economies in the region to work together towards closer integration. One example is the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or RCEP, which includes India and Singapore. RCEP is significant because the 16 participating countries account for nearly half of the world's population and almost 40% of global trade flows. It helps to create a conducive, rules-based environment for economic exchanges amongst partner countries. It is also a signal to the world of the growing economic importance and strategic influence of Asia-Pacific. Singapore has taken a consistent position since the start of the RCEP negotiations that it is important for RCEP to include India, given the size and the potential of India's economy. We want India to be part of RCEP. Besides the economic benefits, we believe this will further strengthen the links between India and ASEAN, which is important for having a balance of power that promotes peace and stability in this region. I'm happy to know that His Excellency Prime Minister Modi and his government have also recognized this important fact and have sought to cultivate closer economic and strategic relations with ASEAN under the Act East policy. Like all participating countries, India and also Singapore We will have our list of demands and our reservations for RCEP and how we want to negotiate this agreement. So like in any negotiation, there has got to be some give and take. And I'm sure India has carefully studied and carefully considered its different options. When India undertook extensive economic reforms under former Prime Minister Narasimha Rao in 1991, there were also initial apprehensions on how the measures to open up India's economy would impact its companies and workers. I think the overall positive outcomes of the 1991 reforms show that the decision to open up and connect with the world was the right decision for India. According to data from the World Bank, the size of India's GDP grew almost 9 times from 1991 to 2016, and this is measuring in US dollars, lifting many millions of people out of poverty and improving the quality of life for many more. This was a remarkable achievement. I think it is timely for India to take further steps now to open up further and integrate more closely with other economies in the region. And this will be essential for the next phase of India's growth and development. RCEP will be the largest and most important trade deal in the world in recent times. And we hope that it can be concluded soon with India as part of this historic agreement. There's a window to do so within the next few months, and we should strike when the iron is hot and not miss this opportunity. Over the years, many Singapore companies have benefited from the economic opportunities in different industries across India. Likewise, Indian companies have used Singapore's business ecosystem as a gateway to ASEAN. We work well together because we have complementary strengths. As the world enters into a more uncertain period, it is imperative for countries to build more bridges and forge more partnerships. We need to collaborate with others to jointly tackle global challenges that's facing all of us, including climate change, poverty reduction, and sustainable growth. Our chances of success are much higher if we work together in a multilateral, rule-based global system. This is not a perfect system, and there's certainly room for further changes and improvement, but we should not throw the baby out with the bathwater, because there's no equivalent alternative that can deliver the outcomes we need to create a better world for all of us and a better future for our children and our grandchildren. I wish everyone a fruitful summit ahead. Thank you very much.